Just waiting for Kev to get out of the way. Chris, morning. Good to see you. First of all,
why can't we hear Graves' step?
1 2 1 2 1 2. You should be able to hear us. 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Barry White.
1 sec, Graves, then kick off.
All right. Morning.
Probably the best question I've ever asked, Chris.
Yeah.
Forgotten it now.
Not for me.
Morning, Chris. Good to
Morning.
see you. First of all, how are you shaping up this weekend?
Yeah, we're okay in terms of health. Really good to see John Flake and Lise Musset back on the grass this week. Great boost for everybody, me included, to have those two nearing return to involvement with the first team. So but just the usual bumps and bruises from the weekend.
Do we expect John to be fit enough to play some part this weekend, or is it too soon?
No, it's too soon. Same with Lise. So, but obviously for the international break, we'll be working both of them right the way through that period, and we'll assess that off the back of that period. I think John is in a better place than Lise, just because of the manner of the injury. But who knows? Hopefully, fingers crossed. Both of them will be the back end of the international break, obviously in better condition than what they are now, and pushing for a return.
As you mentioned, the international break, I'll get that out of the way now. How much concern is there as a Premier League manager, given reports of certain players testing positive with coronavirus in the last international break? The number of games is 3 games in this one again. Is there a genuine concern on your part, or do you just say, look, that's the schedule and there's nothing I can do about it?
The schedule is not ideal from our point of view, because the amount of games that they're playing in that short period. So that's not ideal, but it never usually is when players go away. So from a personal point of view, caught in between, I've always been a massive supporter of the players going away and playing for the countries, representing the countries, and getting games in, playing against different styles, playing against top players. So that isn't an issue. But I think the other one is certainly a concern. Obviously, we had a massive scare with John Egan, and that was touch and go whether he was going to be made available after coming back from the international break. But it obviously opens it up, doesn't it? The Premier League have put in some stringent measures and testing, and I think you've seen the results of that. You've seen the results of that at our football club, from the players' point of view. But obviously, when they leave our bubble or they leave the Premier League, then it opens it up, and it's certainly a huge risk for the players when they're flying around all around Europe. In the case of the players that play for Sheffield United.
What about Chelsea then? Because this is sort of the end of a trilogy. Well, the fixture makers weren't kind to you, were they?
Arsenal were in that as well. So it's. I'm consistent with my approach, Richard. It's the Premier League, and it's the reason that we want to be here. So it's no good moaning and groaning about it. If you want to have a moan and groan about it, then possibly don't gain promotion and don't do well to stay in the division. It's where we all want to be, and my approach doesn't change. It's another great opportunity to play against a fabulous football club, a manager done extremely well over the last 2 or 3 years at Derby in his first year, and in his first year at Chelsea, the problems that he had there, and putting his stamp on a team now that I expect to go really well. So yeah, the last 2 games have been difficult in terms of results, but very, very encouraging in terms of performances against I think it's fair to say. I think that there's a few clubs underneath Manchester United, Manchester City, and Liverpool that are desperate to close that gap, because there is a gap, and Chelsea certainly is the standout one for me in terms of closing the gap between the two who've been arguably, well, not arguably, they have been the best two teams in the country over quite a period now.
Yeah, I'm interested to know what your thoughts are on what Frank has achieved. Because obviously he was at Derby in that promotion-winning season you had out of the Championship. Then he goes to Chelsea under a transfer embargo, gets them into the Champions League, and again they're going really well now this season. Yeah,
different pressures from us all. Some nice pressures, and I'm sure Frank will admit that himself. Some nice pressures to have. Even he had a really good set of players last year, as we all witnessed, and an outstanding academy. He obviously took a couple of the boys out to Derby in his first job there, and the academy is one of the top academies in the country. So, I'm not too sympathetic with the players he has at his disposal, and obviously this year they've invested into some really young quality players, and some fabulous players at that, and they're playing in a manner of what represents the manager, and he's putting his stamp on it, and they're an outstanding side, and they're I believe they're gonna close that gap between the top two, and they're going to be in and around it right the way through. People talk about inexperience, but I think that people will always look at an opportunity to dig managers out, and I can't see anything else but an unbelievably driven manager, an intelligent one that had a fabulous football career, and he's taking that into his managerial career, and I'm sure he'll kick on, and it's a great challenge for us on Saturday evening.
And just a final one from me, Chris. Obviously, everyone will say, well, you want to get that first win this season, but it strikes me that last year's game against Chelsea, when you got those two late goals to snatch a point, was one of those turning points this season that gave everybody real self-belief. Could it be the same this weekend if you could get a result against them?
Yeah, we will always believe that, and I've said it all along in terms of turning up last Saturday. Getting on the bus against Liverpool, we always believe we can get a result, and of course, it did give us a huge boost last year. Chelsea stepped off the pace second half, we stepped on it, and that's what happens in the Premier League. We gave ourselves an opportunity getting a goal back pretty soon after half time, and we pushed, but we could have, they could have been out of sight as well, but we managed to hang on in the game. And I think, there's some quite naive people out there that think that we can go toe to toe with any of these big clubs. I think that, the positive thing from my point of view in the last two games is we've been in the game right the way through, and we have to. I think if you look midweek and look, a couple of the Champions League games, if you go toe to toe with these teams, you just get blown away. If we'd have gone toe to toe with Manchester City in the first 15, 20, 25 minutes, you can possibly be, 3-4-0 down. So it's the balance of your game plan. And what's delighted me, as I said, we've been in both of these games and could possibly, not saying that we were better side in both the games. I'm never going to say that in terms of the players and the teams that we're up against, but we gave ourselves an opportunity, and we have to do that at Chelsea on Saturday. Give ourselves an opportunity to get something from the game, and the spirit's good. There's certain things that we need to tighten up. As I said, after the game against Manchester City, we need to be take a little bit more care and play with a little bit more thought and freedom in the final third, to cause these teams the problems that we'd like to. But that does, as you say, come with maybe a touch of confidence and belief if something goes our way. And our attitude is that we're always looking for something to go our way, and we have to keep working at that.
Cheers, Chris. Go well this weekend.
Rich. Take care, mate.
Cheers, and you.
Hi, Chris. Morning. It's Andy from Radio Sheffield here. Just to follow on from that, I suppose you were talking about those things after the match against Man City, and speed of thought when they get into the final third. What have you seen in training this week that those maybe mental issues are starting to get sorted out?
Yeah, it's quite simple for me on the sideline to identify where what we need to do and where we need to be better. We need to be better with the first pass out. We need to have a little bit more control of the game when we have that opportunity to pass and move teams around. And we have to speed our play up in the final third, whether it's putting the ball in a little bit earlier. So we'll have, I think you understand that we'd have analysed the game to great depths over the weekend, and that comes with a little bit of confidence. I think everybody recognises who's played the game that sometimes you just maybe go a little bit safe and take an extra touch when you don't have to, and maybe don't see the pass as clearly as when you're on top of your game. So the week, I should imagine whoever you're speaking to coming in after me would say that it's been a really positive week, because it always is. So we talk about the weekend, and we talk about what we have to do during the week to be better going into the weekend game fixture against Chelsea and going forward. And we always do that. We don't just brush things under the carpet. I think we had a natter, didn't we, after the game, and we talked about it. And majority of people are seeing the same things. As I said, I'm consistent with what I've said about you can. If people do expect us to go toe-to-toe with these teams early on and just open up, you're blown away. Better teams against us, better teams than us have been incredibly blown away by Liverpool and Manchester City and Chelsea. So you have to have a game plan. We feel the game plan's good, but in that, there's certain aspects of the game that we need to be better at. And certainly speeding our play up, playing with a little bit more freedom around the edge of the box will create the opposition more problems and give us more opportunities to punish them. And my feeling was, as it was going into the last 20, 25 minutes of the game against Liverpool, as it was going into the last 20, 25 minutes in the game against Man City, that we are deep into this game and we are very much in the game. We have to make sure we do that at Chelsea on Saturday.
As Richard mentioned about confidence of taking on Chelsea, I mean, last season there was the match at the Bridge, but there was the match at the Lane as well too. So if the players need a confidence boost, watching that for 90 minutes won't do them any harm. Yeah,
well, the video analysis will show that. They understand that they can do. They all understand that they can get results in this division. But, the difficult part, as you can imagine, is going out and doing it. But we have that. We have that in the bag. We have that to produce, which would be a shot result, as it would have been against Liverpool and as it would have been against Man City. But as I keep banging on about, this is Liverpool, this is Man City, this is Chelsea, and it's no good, as I said, moaning about the opposition. And the fixture list. Let's go and enjoy it. Let's go and take the game to them, because we did at times, more than at times against Liverpool and more than at times against Man City. I think you know that my balance in my view is through my own eyes and from a statistical point of view, and all our key stats add up and are really good. But that's what I'm looking at from a stats point of view. But what I'm looking at is that we're here to get something from games, whether it's turning losses into draws and draws into wins. And we have that ability to do that. We've had that over the last two games. We've had that, by the way, through all of the games so far this season, and that is obviously the hard bit that we need to conquer.
Just finally from me for now, David McGoldrick's announced his retirement from international duty to concentrate, on family life, but from Sheffield United. I mean, he's been tremendous for Sheffield United, and now you're getting him all the time. He won't be away for 3 matches in the next 2 weeks. Yeah,
that's as I said, no influence on that at all. David is a sensible guy, really big player for us. He's had a slow start to the season. Has had a few issues from fitness levels, not from fitness levels, through injuries that have that led to him not getting up to speed as quickly as we would have liked him to be. But we've seen signs of that during the week, and he's made that decision. I think he should be supported in that decision, and obvious benefit for us is that he's with us now, and he can concentrate on his club career, and he's got a lot more to give. He has gave so much to this football club in the period that he's been here, and there's so much more for him to do, and we're looking forward for him to being part of that.
Great. Best of luck Saturday. Thanks.
Cheers,
a lot.
Andy. Thank you.
Hi, Chris. It's
Hey, Emma.
PLP here. Chelsea have shown this vulnerability at the back this season, perhaps not so much in their recent games, but for all their attacking threat, you must be hoping that this game could provide a good opportunity for your strikers who have struggled a little bit for goals so far this season.
Yeah, we have. As I said, the competition is intense that we're up against. There's not chances don't come freely, and especially if you're not maybe playing with that fluidity that we want to play with. These things happen. I'm just a big believer that you can't have it both ways. You can't be an attacking side and be incredibly safe at the back. They've got so many attacking players. I think it's just, as always, as we're always trying to do, every manager, we're always trying to get that balance right, and we can set our teams up however we want to be in terms of the players that we have at our disposal, the players that we can bring into the football club, and they certainly brought some fabulous players at the top of the pitch into Chelsea. And if they're going to go for it, at times you leave yourself a little bit open and vulnerable. And I should imagine that's the key to all these top sides, to your Manchester Cities, that's been pointed at them, to your Liverpools, that's been pointed at them, and Chelsea's, that's been pointed at them. So the balance, I suppose, for these super clubs in our division to get that right is what they're after. But we've shown in the last couple of games that we're just not going to sit back and sit on the edge of our box and wait to get beat. We've taken the game to Manchester City at times and picked our times to do that, and we did that against Liverpool, and we're certainly going to have to do that against Chelsea.
And just one more from me. You've kind of touched on it already, but it really wasn't that long ago that you beat Chelsea 3-0. When you look back on what worked so well that day, has it helped to pull into focus what the issues might be now? Confidence, belief.
Well, yeah, but that can change pretty quickly with something during the game, with a half of football, with a performance. But usually it's a result. That's what usually changes everything. A big result. So that's what we'd be after. We were after that, as I said in the previous two games. We've been after that all season. That quickly changes. Some of the stuff that you can't control, like we talked about, decisions and injuries to key players, which we've certainly suffered more this year than any of my years here at Sheffield United. Big players been out for quite a while, but it usually changes, as I said, from my experience in moments during games or a big performance and. Or a big result. The confidence levels are okay. They're not shot. If they are shot, you're getting done 5 at Liverpool, you're getting done 5 against Man City, and I'm sure you've seen both of those games and both of those results. And I think that the general conclusion, from my point of view, or what it should be, is that Sheffield United could have got results in both of those games. So we have to go down the road tomorrow with the same belief. And as I said, hopefully something happens to get us in that to get us that big result that we're all after.
Good luck this weekend. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Emma. Cheers.
When you're ready, Ian. Hi, Chris. How are you?
I'm all right, pal. You?
Very well, thank you. You've not won yet, and at what stage do you begin to get a bit worried about it?
Got worried about it after about the first 2 minutes against the Wolves, Ian, if I'm honest. We're always worried when we don't get the result that we're after. It's just getting that balance right, you know. The team are doing a lot of things right. It is the ultimate level of football in this country that we're playing at, and obviously the fixture list over this little period is a tough one. But I think, as I just said there, if you've seen the performances of the team, we feel a result is round the corner, and we've just got to keep going and keep believing. I'll keep going and keep believing to the end. When that is, who knows? Because that's what we the world of football management that we live in. But we keep going, we keep driving the players forward, and there's nothing in their body language and nothing in me speaking to them individually, speaking to them as a group that suggests that they're feeling sorry for themselves. They're hurting. They want to win games of football. They're looking at, it's difficult not to look at league tables. I've always said that. I've tried not to look at it, and I've told the players not to look at it because it does last for a few months, and there's quite a number of games left for us to change the position of the football club, and that's what we believe we can do. But at the moment, that we're all hurting regarding the position that we're in, because we feel we can do better than what we're doing, and we can affect that going forward.
You're also a massive cricket fan. It's interesting you say that about the league table. Do you see the league table when you're not doing well as compared to last year as being like scoreboard pressure in cricket?
Yeah, I've not really thought about that game so much so far, Ian. But there's different analogies right the way through every sport. It's but as I said, we've just got to concentrate on where we're at the moment, and as we've always talked about, the media attention, the noise that surrounds the Premier League. We were all gladly enthused and wanted to embrace that, and we're enthusiastic when we embraced it last year. So we have to block out that noise and concentrate what we can affect and what we can do. So, as I said, players are in decent spirits, and looking forward to going to Stamford Bridge on Saturday evening. It's, as I said, it's a tough place to go and get a result. They're in good form, but football isn't as straightforward as what people think it is at times, and results sometimes come from nowhere. And we were close to result in the last two games, where I should imagine nobody outside our change room would have given us any chance of getting that result. So we have to have that same attitude going into the weekend.
You said earlier, maybe take the game to Chelsea and enjoy it. Has that been a problem this year? Obviously, because of the results, maybe not so many smiles on faces, maybe not so many players enjoying every game.
I think, I certainly think they enjoy being involved in the Premier League. They're human beings, though, and they're not going to enjoy when things aren't going the way that they want it to go, me included. But we're not walking around, feeling sorry for ourselves. That's not the attitude of the football club, because it just isn't. That isn't what we're about. We fought against the odds right the way through to get into this division, to stay in this division, and we're going to have to fight like hell to do that again. Nothing is going to be just given to us. So, it is, as I've said there, a balance. I don't want the boys to be jumping through hoops and coming and singing and dancing and and thinking, well, we've not got a care in the world, and it doesn't matter, because it does matter, because they want to continue the success that they've achieved, and they've enjoyed it, and we've all enjoyed it. But there are times where it doesn't go as well as you want it to go, and I always think that's just the key test of what you're about as a player, but more importantly as a person. But it's certainly it's positive environment up here, as you've been up here and you know what it's about. and it will be one going down to Chelsea. They will have full belief that they can go and get a result. But as keep talking about, you know, we have to marry that up, that belief of going in there with the performance on the pitch, because that's where it's that the green bit is where it's decided.
Finally, the country's now back in lockdown, but unlike first time round, you can carry on playing football. So it's like a two-pronged question here. Firstly, how privileged do you all feel at Sheffield United and in the football community that you can carry on playing? And secondly, does it add an extra responsibility over the next month, maybe longer, the fact that a lot of your fans are going to be sat at home and maybe can't go and do their jobs, can't go and get a pint with their friends? So it's down to you now to put a smile on their faces every week. Yeah,
we felt for quite a period, but and I'm sure, you know, there'll be doubters out there in terms of our own supporters, but you know, it's all relative, and I think, you know, even the most I should imagine the most critical of our supporters can, you know, will understand what we've done over the past 2 or 3 years. So I'm sure we get their backing as well. We'd have loved, obviously, to have their backing up close and personal, driving us on, and I'm sure they would have done. And I'm sure that would have been a help in terms of us picking up results so far this season. But yeah, we've got to do it on its own. We know that there's a passionate, committed support that we have at our football club that understand what the football club's about. It's never straightforward. It's never, you know, into Europe, Champions League, Premier League, FA Cup. You know, it's sort of a bit of a roller coaster ride being involved with this football club. And at the moment, it's not going the way that we all want it to. But we certainly, not just through lockdown, we're certainly in a privileged position. You know, working in professional football, myself working for this football club. So we understand our roles and our responsibilities in that. And I think not one thing that you can always count on at our football club, which you've seen so far this season, is 100% committed in terms of trying to get a result in a game of football. We might like the quality that other clubs have, the sort of the sparkle that maybe some of the other clubs have or can turn to, which we understand because that's what the competition's all about. But we've got to narrow the gap, and we've got to bring something else that gives us opportunities to get results. And we're doing our best through this period and right the way through, as always, and see where it takes us.
Keep safe and keep well, my friend.
Cheers, mate. And you, Ian. Take care, pal.
Cheers.
No more broadcast hands, so we'll go on to the written embargo section, and we'll start with Nate.